everyone in the Better Bones and the Alkaline for Life communities. Got to take a deep breath. Today is day 9 of the COVID virus lockdown in New York. New York City, as you know, is now the epicenter of the virus in this country. Today we had our first fatality up north. We're in Syracuse, which is quite a ways north of New York City, in the center of New York State. We're in lockdown. We're encouraging everyone to stay in lockdown. But I am very pleased with New York State, and you might have heard my broadcast last night that New York State has started using intravenous vitamin C in some of its hospitals in Long Island. If you followed my work, you know that we've been reporting on the terrific antiviral capacity of vitamin C long before COVID even came about. A few months ago, I wrote a blog called 9,000 Cases of Healing with High-Dose Vitamin C, and that was reporting on the work of Dr. Robert Cathcart, who treated 20,000 people during the 60s, 70s with high-dose vitamin C, healing everything from hepatitis to all kinds of influenzas, to polio even, to all kinds of viral infections and all kinds of poisonings. Vitamin C is it's the premier water-soluble antioxidant in the body, and it protects every cell. It protects you particularly from this cascade of cytokines that occurs when the virus gets involved with the lungs. So I was really pleased to see that New York State is using intravenous C. They picked it up from the Chinese. The Chinese started using intravenous C in their treatments, and they were giving, as I recall, something like between 14 and 24,000 milligrams of vitamin C intravenously. Now we're going to see that in New York, what they're doing is 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C intravenously. 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C intravenously, but they're doing it 4 times during the day, spread out throughout the day. Vitamin C, whether you take it orally or whether you take it intravenously, has a rather short half-life. So they're taking it several different times during the day here in New York, 1,500 milligrams, which is about 6,000 milligrams in total intravenous, where in China they used higher doses, maybe 14 to 24. In Korea, where they had very good results also, they were using 30,000 milligrams intravenously. And if you read the early work of Dr. Klenner and Dr. Cathcart, they used extremely high dose vitamin C, both intravenous and orally, even higher doses has been giving now for the COVID. And if you go to Alkaline for Life, you can find my blog on these 9,000 cases. Has a long history of using vitamin C as a very strong antiviral agent and a very effective antiviral agent. So we're really pleased New York is doing this. Now, New York actually is copying China, and China copied the early American researchers. Remember, vitamin C was only isolated in 1935 or so. So it was only after that they knew what the substance was that could prevent scurvy. They noticed its many powers as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, important substrate, and they started doing experiments and clinical work with it. So the implication is, if you think about it, they gave 1,500 milligrams, they're giving, right today, now, 1,500 milligrams intravenously vitamin C 4 times during the day. 1,500 milligrams intravenous is about 10 times higher orally. So if you're doing 1,500, it would be like 10, 12, 14, 15,000 orally if you were to take it. It's about 10 times more potent when you do it intravenously than it is orally. Nonetheless, oral vitamin C is very important, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about dosing of oral vitamin C. Most all of us can use oral vitamin C to boost our immunity, and I'm going to give you a couple different protocols. Lots of people have been contacting me, how much should I use, what's helpful? And now remember, in New York City, they're still giving the drugs and they're doing the respirators and all the treatments they can do, but they're also adding the vitamin C. So from a prevention standpoint, we say do everything nutritionally, get that alkaline diet, eat those fruits and vegetables, stay well hydrated. Look at my 10 tips for enhancing respiratory wellness, which is a blog that I posted recently. Give you some tips about what you can do to help keep the respiratory tract clear. You want to do all those things. And You want to look at some key nutrients that can help boost immunity. Vitamin C is one of those. The first protocol that I spoke to you about actually several weeks ago was a protocol presented by the Orthomolecular Medical News Service. They, a few months ago, published their protocol saying this would help to boost immunity. And that protocol consisted of vitamin C. They were saying just begin maybe with 3,000 milligrams in divided doses, like 1,000 3 times a day. That's a very good idea and a pretty simple thing to do. They said don't forget vitamin D. Vitamin D, of course, really is essential for potentiating the immune system. And if you don't have enough vitamin C, vitamin D, it's going to use it for the most important job, which is absorbing calcium. And if you have extra, it'll use it for its many other functions, like helping out the immune system and helping out the heart and boosting your resistance. Vitamin D, they suggest, they suggested the orthomolecular group. They said start with 5,000 units a day for 2 weeks and then reduce to 2,000. Now, if you're taking vitamin D, you probably know your dose. You want a dose that gives you a level of, say, 50 to 60 ng/ml. That's a measurement of vitamin D in the blood. You want a 50 or 60. Here in the north, people need varying amounts. Some people are okay with 2,000. I personally have to use like 7,000. It varies by individual. Try to get your vitamin D tested. Try to keep up to that 50 to 60 level. If you're having a hard time getting a test, you can go to grassrootshealth.net. And they are a self-advocacy, a nonprofit group that has a little dipstick testing for vitamin D, grassrootshealth.net. 2,000 vitamin D, 4,000 vitamin D for a short while. Get that level to 40 to 50 or even 60 ng/ml. The Orthomolecular Medical News Group also says magnesium. When we think about bone health, we often forget magnesium. When we think about overall health, magnesium is perhaps the most common molecule in every single living cell, every single healthy cell. And ascorbate, vitamin C is probably the ascorbate form of vitamin C is probably the second most common molecule. Just like we want a lot of ascorbate, we want a lot of magnesium. They suggest 400 milligrams. Here at the Center for Better Bones, when we're working with people with a bone health concern, we strive to get that magnesium up to 1,000 milligrams. And actually, if you look at the cross-cultural, the indigenous populations, what we evolved on, what the anthropologists say we evolved on, they say it was many times more magnesium than we get, and well into the 1,000 milligram range. Later, I can teach you, if you get a loose stool for magnesium, I can show you how to correct that. It relates to a block to magnesium uptake, which we now know how to correct. Vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, zinc. You've probably heard zinc, again, has been picked out as one of those antioxidant minerals. It's very potentiating to the immune system. The orthomolecular group says 20 milligrams. 20 milligrams is not hard to find. Some of my clients might use a bit more than that. They might have a little bit of a deficit. 20 milligrams of zinc, great place to start. And selenium, of course, is another very well-known antioxidant. They suggest 100 micrograms a day. This is the Orthomolecular News Service, a publication they put out probably 6 weeks ago. And when they start this publication, they have a quote from Robert Cathcart, which says, Cathcart, the fellow, the doctor who treated 20,000 people with high-dose vitamin C. And you can find his articles on the website. It's Robert Cathcart. He kept very careful records. It's really pretty fascinating. He said, Cathcart said, I have never seen any flu yet that is not cured or markedly ameliorated by massive doses of vitamin C. This guy treated 20,000 people. So I am totally delighted that New York State, and it was a young physician, you see if you pick up this article, a young physician, Andrew Weber, stepped out there. He was a pulmonologist and said, let's do it. The Chinese have had success. In fact, he is quoted as saying that vitamin C levels drop dramatically in patients who have coronavirus. Vitamin C is used up quickly by the white blood cells when we have an infection. It's also used up if we have stress response. It's also used up if we have any kind of toxicity, if we go out and breathe polluted air. What I'm going to be teaching you as we go along is what you probably already know. We have toxified our environment too much. We have polluted the environment too much. We have undernourished ourselves too much. I just got the Audubon Newsletter, and it's all about toxicity and how all the various birds that are dying because of this. And, you know, one outcome, I believe, of this current crisis is we're going to kind of slow down and realize, ask ourselves, what's really important in life? Do we need not to protect our health? Do we need not to fortify our immune systems? Do we need not to take care of our environment? Can we poison the environment? And these were pesticides that were used that are killing these birds, long-lasting pesticides. Can we poison the environment and not poison ourselves? It's so clear what the ancients have said. There is one flow of life, one energy of life, and we are all interconnected. You may say, hey, I've got nothing to do with this. The air we breathe, the water we drink, we are all totally interconnected. And hopefully we'll start seeing ourselves as one body of humanity and one Mother Earth, that we need to take care of one another and take care of the Earth. So the orthomolecular news protocol is that vitamin C, even start out with 3,000 milligrams. Vitamin D, either 2 to 4,000 start out with. Magnesium, strive for 400. Zinc, 20 milligrams, and selenium, 100 micrograms. Now we can turn our attention to a study that was done with flu. They took 500 students. They divided them up into two groups. One of the groups, they gave them, the standard things, decongestion and pain relievers. The other group, they gave vitamin C at the first sign of flu. This is what we should pay attention to, and this is what we should probably do at the first sign of flu. They gave them 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C for the first 6 hours. 1,000 every hour for 6 hours. And then the days after that, they gave 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. And the result of this, with these students who were getting flu, was that flu and cold symptoms in the group taking the vitamin C decreased by 85% compared with the control group. Mega doses of vitamin C, as they call them, were very effective. Now, this study is very interesting. You'll find a link to it. It was done by Gordon and Jarvis. And you know what year it was done in? 1999. So way back then, there were controlled studies showing that vitamin C was very effective for flus and virus. And many of naturopathic doctors and health consultants like myself have used very high dose vitamin C for many situations. In my book, and for the last 30 years to me, it's been the most important repair agent we have. It's the greatest electron donor. It's the most powerful antioxidant. And if you use the proper form, it will alkalize. But this study was done in 1999 with pure ascorbic acid, not even a fancy form of ascorbate, and it showed remarkable results. So in a sense, I'm grateful, I'm very grateful that this is coming to the attention of a few innovative medical people to say, stand out there and say, look, we've got to try this. It's simple, it's life supporting, and it's shown to be very helpful in China. Chinese have done several studies on this. They won't be completed until for a few more months, but it's a wonderful thing. And each of us can begin thinking, what can I do to boost immunity? So I have written my own protocol, my protocol for my clients and my family and friends. I'll get that protocol to you. Here it is right here, the Alkaline Way suggestions for boosting immunity and reducing the risk of viral infection. Hopefully we have this in the next couple of days that we can post it. But essentially we're talking about some basics, staying hydrated, consuming an alkaline diet. As I've been mentioning to you, these viruses are pH dependent, it appears. And so they love an acid environment. They don't do so well in an alkaline environment. So get out that pH paper, measure your first morning urine. We at Alkaline for Life and Better Bones have a really wonderful kit to measure your pH and to understand the alkaline diet if you're not familiar with it. Staying hydrated is a really great idea. Being outdoors in nature, worry less, meditate more, and of course, see your doctor if you get ill. And do the social distancing, because if we don't do social distancing, the very responsible calculation is that 1.5 million people in this country will die from this flu. So we've got to really think, do we put the economy first or do we put the people first? It's a very striking and unique situation. So my protocol, again, use vitamin C. We like to see a person taking enough vitamin C that there's always some in their urine, which means they always have some excess. We say start with 3,000 to 6,000 milligrams a day, and then if necessary, if you have symptoms, work up to bowel tolerance. I can talk more about this if you have questions about it. It's really neat. There are these wonderful strips that you can actually test your urine, and you can see, do I have some vitamin C in the urine? And it has a little chart, and it tells you the optimum level. Like with my son, I say, look, I want to see you right at that high level of vitamin C every single day. He's a worker. He installs street lights. He has to be out there working for the safety of our town. And yet, I want him to be as fortified as he possibly can. So you might get these strips if you're interested in them. And if you say vitamin C gives me a loose stool, then you got to back off. You got a little too much. You have to work up on it perhaps a little bit slowly. So in our protocol, you're going to see vitamin C. We prefer vitamin C in the form of a fully buffered, fully reduced ascorbate. That means a very potent form of ascorbate, which is the form of vitamin C that the body uses. The product we have is packed under nitrogen. It's very potent. It isn't oxidized. But that's okay. If you can't get the high quality ascorbate, go ahead and get an ascorbic acid. Eventually, there'll be lots of quantities. Eventually, you might see the value of using a higher quality professional grade ascorbate. But you want to take maybe 3, 4, 5, 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C on a daily basis and spread it out throughout the day. That's the way our protocol starts. Vitamin D, again, really important. We say the same thing as the orthomolecular medicine, maybe 2 to 1,000, 4,000, 5,000, whatever you need to get to a 40 to 60 blood level of vitamin D. The government has said 4,000 is safe for everyone. Start that for a while and go down to 2,000 if you want. Hopefully you've had your vitamin D tested at some point. If not, the very minimum, do 2,000. Quercetin is something that I'm going to talk about in the future. Quercetin is one of those great natural antivirals. It what gives color to plant. It's particularly anti-inflammatory for the lungs. And you've probably seen that the suggestion, do not use non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, or the suggestion at least that they can make the COVID worse. Quercetin is a great natural substitute for that. And we have certain products we use here that are combined with quercetin with pomegranate and grapeseed pit OPC, which you can find at Alkaline for Life if you're interested. But know that there are natural anti-inflammatories which are very, very effective. Quercetin is one of those. And we put this on our protocol because I have had decades of experiencing using it. There's other great immune boosters like echinacea I really like. Garlic is great. Many, many herbal formulas. But back to the strict nutrient protocol. Again, we put zinc really high on our list, maybe 20 milligrams, maybe a bit more. Selenium, again, from 100 to 250 micrograms. Again, magnesium, as I mentioned, that's high on our list too. We go for even 400, between 400 and 1,000 milligrams of magnesium. And if you stool, it's because you have blocked to magnesium uptake. It's not because you're allergic to magnesium. And you can correct that by taking a choline citrate, a liquid choline citrate, which we'll be happy to tell you about if you want to contact our office. And you can find information on the website perhaps about that, the block to magnesium uptake and the use of choline citrate. I've done a little video on that. If you want it, we can send it to you. And of course, it makes sense if we're talking about a nutrient protocol. You want to use a good broad spectrum multivitamin and mineral. You want all your B vitamins. You want manganese, you want copper, you want several other nutrients which will help the body stay healthy. So this protocol, the Alkaline for Life protocol, we'll have ready for you very soon. We'll post it. And it really is just a little bit more than the orthomolecular and a little bit more than what the Chinese were doing, just giving vitamin C and orally or intravenously, a combination of nutrients. So we'll have these protocols for you. People are asking a lot of questions about vitamin C. And so tomorrow I'm going to spend some time answering the questions right now. Let me just tell you that many people are worried, say, hey, did you really say 20,000 milligrams? Did you mean 20? And I want you to look at the 20,000 cases of healing with high dose vitamin C. I mean, the 20,000 milligrams is a very common dose. I every day take about 15,000, and that is not bowel tolerance. The average person can take between 10,000 and 15,000 without getting too much loose stool. And if you ever get too much loose stool, it's like a little colon cleanse. There's nothing wrong with that. Vitamin C is remarkably safe. If you have oxalate, if you collect oxalate, if you're a person who has you absorb too much iron, if you have a really big health issues, then talk with your doctor about it, or talk to someone who might really know. But it's a remarkably safe nutrient, and these doctors who treated people for decades with high dose reported no ill effects. The diarrhea is one thing, but the diarrhea is that you've either taken too much that you could tolerate, or you've drawn toxins into the bowel, and you have to back off and do that slowly. People wanted to know, one person had a really interesting thought. They said, great, I love your stuff on vitamin C, but now if you could just get people taking glutathione, then we could turbocharge our immunity. Glutathione, as you know, is another major antioxidant. Glutathione and vitamin C work together. They help to regenerate one another. From the research I've seen and from what my mentors say, vitamin C is a very great way to regenerate glutathione, that you can raise your glutathione level in the blood by taking vitamin C. So if you want to take glutathione, you can. It's expensive, and it's not totally clear that they're suggesting now that the liposomal glutathione might be highly absorbed. We use ascorbate to raise glutathione, which has been shown to be effective. Glutathione is a great antioxidant, and it works together with vitamin C. The other questions related to the fact of, somebody wanted to know, is ascorbic acid really vitamin C? I think I'll just close on this little distinction that vitamin C, we have written an article on this. You can find it on Alkaline for Life and on betterbones.com. Vitamin C was a compound. It was named a vitamin because it prevented scurvy. A vitamin is really something that you die if you don't eat, and you will die if you don't have vitamin C, because you'll die of scurvy, where the collagen becomes so weak you just ooze blood, you ooze a hemorrhage all over the place. It's a nasty way to die. People don't get scurvy anymore because all you need is a tiny amount of vitamin C. But it's not the vitamin action of vitamin C, it's its action as an antioxidant, and its action as an electron donor to energize every cell, and its action as a substrate for the production of neurohormones, for certain proteins, for certain amino acids. Vitamin C has many, many roles it plays in the body. And when vitamin C is active in the body, it's in the form of ascorbate. And so at the Center for Bones and Alkaline for Life, we found a wonderful way to supplement with ascorbate that's processed in a very particular way, that it isn't already oxidized. It's what you call fully reduced, and it's fully buffered. That means it's combined with minerals and a little bit of zinc, a little potassium, a little magnesium, a little calcium. This allows for better uptake and better utilization of that ascorbate. So there's different types of ascorbate. We use a fully buffered, fully reduced ascorbate. But if you can't get a hold of that, ascorbic acid is the place. Start with ascorbic acid. Start with common ascorbic acid. Just get the highest quality one you can. Don't expose it to heat or light, and you will see some benefits. Always want to check out and see what you have in the stool, and check your pH. That's why we like a buffered ascorbate, because it will it will alkalize. Fascinating times we're living under, big challenges. I do think we're going to come out of it thinking about the environment, thinking about our own health, and thinking about the values. What do we place importance on? Should we slow down a bit, take better care of ourselves, take better care of our environment? Anyway, that's the talk for the future. Right now we're in the thick of it, telling everyone, stay at home, stay put. nourish yourself, stay well rested, and help one another as much as you can. Stay well. I look forward to talking to you all again tomorrow. Feel free to send me your questions.